Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 213, and I'm Lisa, your host, also known as Fibernymph on Ravelry and Instagram. Today is Sunday, August 28th, and I am newly back from my wedding trip to Florida. We just got back on Friday, super late. Actually, it was the wee hours of Sunday morning. Actually, no, it was right before midnight. But yeah, it was late, and so I'm still in re-entry mode, very much. But today is actually the first day I'm here at my house. See, this is now my house. I can't really call this home because my actual point of where I'm living now is not here. My home is elsewhere. This is still my house, though, and where I work and where I'll be recording for the foreseeable future. Yeah, it's confusing for me and everyone else, too, so welcome to the club. But anyhow, this is the first day I've been back here since we got back, and I'm sort of just trying to sort through things and figure out a game plan for the upcoming weeks and everything, get back into work mode. And I was going to record tomorrow instead, but I really think tomorrow I'm going to just dive into dyeing and everything. So I thought today would be a really good day to do a podcast, even though I don't usually record on Sundays. So anyway, I'm going to start by doing a little bit of a wedding recap for you. And if you aren't interested in this, feel free to hop over it. But since it's sort of like the most timely event going on in my life, it seems apropos. Is that the right word, apropos? I'm not sure that I used that word correctly right there. No, I guess that is apropos. Whatever. Anyway, the wedding. Okay, so we left on Wednesday, the 17th, and we drove to Florida all in one day. Bill did all the driving. He is so sweet because I always say, you know, if you want me to drive, I'll do some of the driving. And he's like, oh, no, that's okay. I don't mind. You just knit. I'm like, okay. So that was the trip down. We got to my mom's that evening, and it was really good to see her. Thursday, we had some errands to run around and do, so we did those, and then Emma and her roommate, Alyssa, who they had been in Disney, and they were driving back up from Disney, so they were able to stop Thursday. Well, obviously they were stopping because they were going to be at the wedding, and they were baking the cake, but they drove up from Disney and got there around dinner time Thursday. I've got some sort of allergy thing going on, so I'm drinking tea today. There is something blooming because I've been sneezing and scratching and everything for a few days now. Chamomile anise, if you're interested. It's from Badia, B-A-D-I-A. It's in the ethnic foods aisle of my grocery store. It's sort of like the Mexican food stuff and everything. I love that brand. I buy a lot of their spices because they're really good and they are way less expensive than like McCormick and stuff. Anyway, that was apropos of nothing that I'm talking about. Okay. Excuse me. So, Thursday, Emma and Alyssa arrived. My mom did a dinner actually, they got there after dinner because they weren't there at dinner time, but my mom had a couple of her friends over who could not be at the wedding but wanted to see us, and so we had dinner with them that evening. And then late, like actually early the Friday morning, my oldest, Zach, he arrived in the middle of the night. I was in bed. I got up to go to the bathroom at like 4 in the morning, and he was like sleeping on the sleeper sofa. He was actually awake. He wasn't asleep. So I got to say hi to him then, which was nice because I hadn't seen him in almost a year. I was there last September. So anyway, that was 2 of my 3 offspring that were there. So then Friday, we were able to get into the condo because we rented a condo for the week starting on Friday. So we could get into there Friday afternoon. So we went and we did a huge grocery shopping trip for that, to have groceries there and for stuff we were doing at my mom's and everything. So we did all that Friday during the day, and Emma and Alyssa were baking away. They baked cake and cupcakes, and that turned out wonderfully. I'm going to put a whole bunch of pictures in at the end of the episode. I'm going to try to anyway. I only have the pictures right now that are on my phone from the wedding. We have a lot of pictures, like hundreds of pictures, but they're all on Bill's good camera, and I don't have those pictures yet. So eventually I'll have like all kinds of pictures, but I'll try to put some representative ones in at the end of the episode so you can see things. But anyway, so then the Friday afternoon, my younger son, Chris, and Bill's sister, Pam, they got into town. So we went and picked them up at the airport, and then we were all, we went and took stuff to the condo, and because we couldn't get in there until like 4 o'clock. So then we took everything to the condo and unloaded things, and then we went back to my mom's and had dinner there. I thought we were just having like this really simple like sandwiches and potato salad kind of dinner, but no, we had like this full sit down dinner that my mother decided we had to have, and I was just like, okay, whatever. I was beyond arguing with any about anything at that point. Okay, so that was Friday, and then Saturday was the wedding. It was beautiful weather the entire time we were down there. We had rain like one afternoon, like later in the week, but other than that, it was gorgeous. I was not, I didn't think I was super stressed or anything about the wedding. I knew it was a little edgy, like leading up to it, but that's just me because there were so many little things that I wanted to be able to control. Like I wanted to be in charge of them, yet I couldn't because it was my wedding and I would not logistically be able to be in charge of them. So I think some of those things were sort of stressing me out. But, in the couple of days leading up to the wedding, everybody's like, are you excited? Are you excited? Are you getting nervous? I'm like, I'm excited. Like, I'm looking forward to being married. The wedding will be nice. No, I'm not nervous. I've known this is coming up. Like, it was making me a little insane, having all of these questions thrown at me that weren't making sense to me. Plus, at that point, I had been around people nonstop from like Wednesday through that point. So 3 straight days and even though they're people I love dearly, like my inner introvert was like, oh my gosh, danger, danger, danger. So by Saturday morning, I was having a little bit of an anxiety issue, and I needed to be by myself for a little bit, but I was trying to not be rude because, we're at the condo I was there with Bill and his sister, and well, Zach wasn't there at that point, but like, I didn't want to seem antisocial, but I really, really, really just needed to be by myself for a little bit. So we ate breakfast, and by then Bill's sister was up, so he was talking to her, and I went in the bedroom and I got my biking clothes on, and I came back out. I said, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go for a bike ride. And they're like, okay. And Bill's like, well, I'll go with you. I'm like, no, it's okay. You talk to your sister. You hang out. It's good. I just want to get some fresh air, loosen my back up, because my back was hurting, and legitimately riding my bike does loosen my back up. And he's like, oh, okay. And he got it. Like, he knew I just needed some alone time, so he didn't push it. So I did. I went out for probably about 45 minutes, and I just rode up at the end of the island where we were. We were on Amelia Island, Fernandina Beach. And we were up at the north end of the island. And so I did. It was so nice to just get out, get some fresh air, relax. I did post a little video on Instagram from that bike trip because I stopped and I walked on the beach a little bit. And so that's there. And I was just explaining during that video that, like, yeah, I just needed to get away for a little bit. And I was fine when I got back, but I just really wanted to chill that day until the wedding. And I was finding it hard to do since I was also feeling like I had to entertain people. So that was a little stressful. But anyway, then everybody came over to the condo around, the wedding was we were going to do it at 4:30. It wasn't like our totally strict timing kind of thing. But we were meeting at the condo, I think at 3 or 3:30? 3:30. Because we were going to take some pictures there ahead of time before everybody was a hot, sweaty mess. And then we were going to head over to the beach, which was just like a block away. We drove. I was not walking to the beach at that point. Thankfully, there was a really nice breeze that day, though. It was hot, but it was breezy. So we took pictures, and then we went over to the beach and had all our decorations, and I had already assigned my 2 sons the job of setting everything up, like the chairs, and we didn't need that many chairs. Chairs and the decorations and everything. So we no sooner got over there, and I had knitting with me, and I was sitting in the car. I said, I'm just sitting in the car till we're ready to go, for the ceremony. And so I started knitting. I got like a half a round done on a sock, and then suddenly the woman who was the officiant for the ceremony, she showed up, and I had to talk to her, and because we'd only communicated with her through email at that point, so I had to talk to her. So I did not really get to knit much on my wedding day. Sad, but anyway, so they all went up and set stuff up, and people kept trying to ask me questions, and I'm in the car, so I finally just got out of the car, and my son Chris, my younger son, he was escorting me to the wedding, like walking me down the sand. I don't know, it was funny, but we were hanging back because it seemed like they had stuff set up there, yet like they were all just standing and milling around and looking at stuff, and I thought, well, they're not ready. And apparently they were up there like, why are they standing back there? Why aren't they coming up? So there was a little bit of weird communication, but Emma came back and she was taking goofy pictures of us, which was fun because she was my official photographer. So anyway, finally, we got up there and we had the ceremony, and it was very nice. It was not an overly populated, crowded end of the beach, which was nice too, so there weren't a ton of people. Although one of the really cool things that was going on was there was people down the beach from us flying kites, and one of them was a huge dragon. Like, who can't love getting married with a dragon flying overhead? I thought that was awesome. It was funny because looking at timestamps on my phone, because Emma's friend Alyssa I gave her my phone. I'm like, please take some pictures on my phone, so I have some there. Looking at the timestamps from the time Chris and I walked up to where we were having the ceremony until the point where the officiant said, I now pronounce you man and wife, or whatever she said. I honestly don't remember. Isn't that horrible? It's like I was so in the moment, but I was like, I knew what she was going to be saying, so I didn't pay that much attention. I was just really happy to be married. But anyway, from the time it started till it ended, 10 minutes. It was a 10-minute long ceremony. I thought it would be at least like 20 minutes, but apparently it went much faster. And that was fine. It was perfect. And then we spent a ton of time at the beach afterwards, taking all kinds of pictures in every configuration with everybody, The only one we did not get was one with Bill and I with my 3 kids. We got one with me and my kids, and me and my mom and my kids, but we didn't get any with him and me and my kids, which I was like, how did we manage to miss that? But we do have some like with all of us, so that's okay. Anyway, we had cowbells for the end of the wedding. When we were supposed to kiss, everybody rang cowbells, so that was fun. The officiant said, this is my first cowbell wedding. It's like, okay. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a really nice ceremony. We had a good time. The officiant, her name was Dee. Dee had, she's like trying to guide us in taking the pictures afterwards. Like, we already knew what pictures we wanted. She's like, but here, I've got some poses on my phone. Maybe you want to do some of these. And some of them were cute. Some of them were totally out there. Like, we weren't doing them. We're like, no, I think we'll pass on that. But there was one, she's like, oh, here, you could do one where he's dipping you. And I'm like, I don't think my back can do that. And I'm not sure. I'm like, I'll dip him. So we do have a picture. I think I posted it to Instagram of me dipping him on the beach. It was just, we had a lot of fun. Anyway, so after that, we went back to my mom's for our wedding dinner, which a friend of hers catered, and it was very good. And we got to eat all of the cupcakes and the cake. They made a yellow cake. The small layer was yellow, the big layer was chocolate, and then there was 2 types of cupcakes. There was coconut rum cupcakes, and there was lemon raspberry, and those were my favorite. They were awesome. Oh my gosh. With buttercream icing, and there's all these chocolate seashells that they had made, and our cute little cake topper, which was these 2 seahorses kissing. It was a lot of fun. Loved the cakes. Dinner was great. We hung out. We opened our wedding gifts. And yeah, that was pretty much it. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, Saturday night. That was it. We just did that, and then finally everybody kind of said, okay, we're really tired now. And so we ended up going back, and we went back to the condo. And then Sunday we just we hung out. We had brunch on Sunday because Sunday was technically my mom's birthday. Thursday. Thursday was Emma's birthday. So the day that they got there, that was her actual birthday. So we kind of did birthday stuff with her that day. But Sunday was my mom's birthday. So we all went out to brunch at this very busy brunch place down there, which was excellent. We did that, and then we just sort of hung out for the rest of the day. Bill's sister wasn't feeling real good, so she kind of just hung out at the condo. What did we do? I feel like we did something. I honestly don't remember right off the top of my head what we did Sunday afternoon. Oh, we went, Emma and Alyssa, because they had to leave. We did something with them. What did we do with them? Oh my gosh, this is horrible. Anyway, whatever. We hung out with people Sunday afternoon. They had to take off to go back to Charlotte, so they were gone. Um, and then Sunday evening we ate at my mom's. I made tacos. That was the big dinner Sunday night. Monday morning, what did we do? We just could have hung out that day too. Chris and Pam had flights back home, so we got them to the airport. Um, and then on our way back, we had to take care of like the marriage certificate, and we did that. And then we had to do some other paperwork stuff with regards to his work to get me on his health insurance by September 1st. I don't know. It was a whole lot of stuff. But anyway, so that was Monday afternoon. Then we got back to, we went to the pool. That's what we did Sunday afternoon. We went to the pool, and Alyssa and Emma came over to the pool because there was a nice pool at our condo. That's what we did. I knew we did something with the kids. Anyway, so then we finally got back after all of that. That took way longer than it should have. And Zach was still there. He was waiting for us to get back to say goodbye. And he had fallen asleep on the couch. And he's like, oh my gosh, I need to leave. So that was a fast goodbye. He left. And finally, it was just him and I. We're alone. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's finally us. We're on our honeymoon officially now. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I don't remember I think we just had leftovers for dinner or something that night because there was a ton of food left over. And yeah, so that was that. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, we canoed. Tuesday, we had planned to canoe at Okefenokee Swamp up in Georgia. And he's been there before and knew where he wanted to take me. We went over in the west entrance, the Stephen Foster State Park entrance, which that was about a 2.5-hour drive for us to get there. So I hadn't any time in the car. But it was so much fun. We paddled all day. We had a little outboard motor, like a 2-horsepower motor on the canoe. So we were able to go through a lot of areas quickly, and then smaller areas we paddled. It was beautiful. It was just, after we got out of the big water and into the smaller area, it was all these big cypress trees with all the Spanish moss coming down into the water, and it was real close. It looked like something out of a Jim Henson fantasy world is what it looked like to me, and I took a bazillion pictures, but it was just beautiful. The only thing I had not counted on, we did see a lot of alligators. That was very, very cool. Lots of alligators, lots of butterflies, and they were very large butterflies. They grew things big in the swamp. Big alligators, big butterflies, big flowers and plants and trees. Everything was large, including the spiders. Oh my gosh, was not expecting that because there were spider webs everywhere, like along the sides of the water, but they also made webs across the trees. And like the first one I saw that was like near head level, I freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I don't mind spiders at a distance, but close up where I'm going to put my head through the web, that was a little bit much. And they, again, were not tiny little itty bitty spiders. They were some big crunchy looking things. So I'm in the front of the canoe. And every time we get to one, I'm like limboing under these webs, even though Bill's like, you're 2 feet away from it. You're fine. I'm like, I'm not taking any chances because it's like they're right overhead. I'm like, what if they jump down on my face? Oh my gosh, it would be horrible. At one point, I looked up, and sometimes they were way, way up. And I really apologize because I know some of you are very freaked out by spiders or the thoughts of them. But at one point, I looked up, and it was like a spider condo because there was just one web after another going up in between the trees. It reminded me of that scene in Harry Potter where Harry and Ron go back into the Forbidden Forest to talk to Aragog, and like, oh, the spiders are coming down. These ones were not coming down, but I could envision that, and it was freaky. And there were a couple times where I did scream like a little girl because we were just way too close to the spiders. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. We had a really pretty day, and I got to drive the boat a little bit, which was fun too. And then Wednesday, we were going to actually paddle just the intercoastal waters on where we were in Amelia Island. But he's like, you know what? We can go over to the east entrance of the swamp, and it's a totally different type of place over there. So why don't we do that? And because I want you to experience that. So that's what we did, and that was a little over an hour away. So we did that on Wednesday, and that was a lot of fun. And yes, there were more spiders, and there were not as many alligators in that half, but it was very, very pretty. And we pretty much had the swamp to ourselves both days. There were hardly anybody there. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, I don't know how many people go to swamps on their honeymoon, but we did, and it was a good time. And then on Thursday, we rode our bikes. We rode back into Fort Clinch. Actually, where we were staying was like right outside of Fort Clinch, so we were able to go back into Fort Clinch. It's about, I don't know. I'm trying to think how far back in that is. It's a few miles, like 4 miles maybe back into Fort Clinch to go back to the fort. And Bill had never seen the fort before, and I wanted to show it to him because I love Fort Clinch. So we went back in there and wandered around, and that was a lot of fun. Took lots more pictures of the fort and the cannons. And you have to understand his last name is Cannon. Well, my last name is Cannon now too. So anytime we're around cannons, he gets a picture of himself with a cannon. So we were taking cannon pictures. So we did that in the morning, and then we came back and we ate lunch, and then we had not been actually to the ocean to go in the water yet. Like, actually, all 3 trips I went to Florida this year, I had not been in the water. So we went to the ocean for about an hour. I mean, it was really rough that day, and I was out there diving under the waves like I used to when I was younger, and I just realized, you know, I'm not as young as I used to be. This is very exhausting. But it was still a lot of fun. So we played in the waves, and then we came back and got cleaned up and started packing because we were leaving Friday morning. And we went out to dinner with my mom. We went out to dinner with her Wednesday night too, actually. So it was nice to get to spend some extra time with her. And it was very, very hard to leave her this time, knowing that I wasn't going to see her for a while. Like when I had to leave after the funeral last month, it was like, okay, well, I'm going to see you in 4 weeks. You know, this time it's like, I'm not going to see her till Thanksgiving when she comes up to visit. So it was hard for her and for me. But anyway, that was Thursday. Friday, we got up. We just had a leisurely kind of morning. We ate breakfast. We cleaned up the condo, packed the rest of the stuff in the car. We did end up having to stop at my mom's for one thing. So we got to say goodbye again, which was nice, but not, you know, it was like, emotions again. And then we hit the road, and it was a very, 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 very long day of driving. And I did end up driving like the last hour and a half because he was just spent, and that was fine. But anyway, then we got back Friday night, and yesterday basically was unpacking day at my new home. We unpacked the car, and we did loads and loads of laundry, and I tore the kitchen apart, which was not an intentional thing. We had some food left over from down there that we brought back, and the one box had the leftover stuff from the baking that the girls did. And so I had taken some of that out and just stuck it in the pantry. Well, I opened the pantry cupboard at one point and saw ants crawling all over this one bottle. I'm like, oh my gosh. And here there were these the little tiny ants, the sugar ants, which apparently, because all this stuff had been put in a box and then my mom just sat it out in her garage so we could take it with us, ants found it in the garage. So I basically had to tear the whole pantry cupboard apart to make sure that there were no ants anywhere. And one of the things that's been on our perpetual to-do list up at his house has been to clean out the kitchen closets in general so that I know what's there and where things are, and I can rearrange if I wanted to, and put new shelf paper in and all that. So I'm like, you know what? I have this closet torn apart. I'm just going to do them all. And so that's what I did yesterday. I totally trashed the kitchen. It's actually still not done because we ran out of shelf paper. So I'll be doing that later today. But at least now I know what there is and where it's at. And I rearranged some things. And I also threw out some things that had expiration dates from like 2001. You know, he's a guy and doesn't keep up with this stuff. So anyway. But then today, here we are. I'm back at my house trying to get caught up on things and talk to you. And now I don't know how long I've been recording. This has been a long entry into this. I'm sorry. Where is that? 17 minutes into, oh gosh. We're almost a half hour in and I'm still just talking about the wedding stuff. I do have knitting to talk to you about, so hang on. It's coming. But anyway, like I said, I will try to put some representative pictures of everything at the end of the podcast. And you can look on Instagram too. I have some on there. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to move into the knitting now. I will say I did not have a chance to look at the group to see if anybody introduced themselves or anything, so I will catch up with that next week. I also didn't have a chance to look and see if anybody posted any questions, and I have like new stuff. Things came in the mail while I was gone. I have not gone through my mail yet, so I'm leaving all of that stuff till the next time I record. I mainly just wanted to check in with you, give you a wedding recap, and now I'm going to talk about the wedding or the knitting. Oh my gosh, wedding. The knitting, and then I will give you I have a little bit of shop news, including a sale that's coming up and the next shop update. So that's what's yet on the horizon here. So let's talk knitting. I finished an object while I was away. I finished the squishy green shawl that I was knitting out of 3 Irish Girls Springvale Merino worsted, which is a superwash merino. This is just a knitted as I go pattern. It's my basic elongated triangular shawl recipe that I use, where I do increases on both ends and at the center on the right side, and then just at the ends on the wrong side. So it turned out really well. Like I said, it was just really kind of a knitted as I go. It's alternating purl segments or garter stitch segments, knit segments, and then every once in a while I threw in like an eyelet section. Really no rhyme or reason, but I used almost the entire 2 skeins. Matter of fact, I was playing yarn chicken when I was binding off, and I was losing, and I could see I was going to lose. So instead of knitting all the way to the end, I did tink back and rip the last row out, and so I saved myself some hassle there. But anyway, it's a great size. It fits really nice. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, that's how big it is. It goes down my back to about my lower back. So it'll be a really nice shawl for winter just to wrap up in. It'll be warm because it's worsted weight. I don't need it today, but I'm happy to have that done. And I finished it too late for it to count for Stash Dash, but it does still count for the around your neck cal that Diane from the Suburban Stitcher podcast is doing. So that's my 3rd entry there for that, and my final entry there for that. So I worked on that and finished it. Then I worked on my antler cardie, which I didn't make as much progress on that as I thought I would while I was away, but that's okay. I finished the sleeves, so both sleeves are done. You saw the one last time, so I have 2 sleeves now. Oh, okay, I thought I had stitches falling off needles, but I don't. They are both actually the same length. So anyway, the sleeves are finished. So I cast on the body, and I did my ribbing. Sorry, everything's all tangled up here. I did my ribbing. Oh boy. I've got about 2 inches of ribbing, and then I am losing stitches now. Oh. So then I went into the stockinette section, and I was, you did the ribbing on 5s and then moved up to US 7s for the body. And I realized, and I knew this was going to be a problem because I never knit as tightly when I knit flat as I knit when I'm knitting in the round. When I'm knitting in the round, I'm super tight. Like the sleeves are very dense. It's a nice, dense, tight fabric. I mean, not bulletproof, but it's nice. It'll be very warm. But because I do not purl as tightly continental, it ends up being a little bit looser. So if I had been home, what I probably would have done was I would have probably gone down a needle size to US 6s. However, I was not home, and I did not have any US 6s with me. So what I've done is I decided to continue knitting with the US 7s, but purl back with my US 5. And you can see right here, from here down to the ribbing, that was all done on the 7. But from here up, that is the knit with the 7 and purl with the 5. And it's definitely a little bit snugger and more even. which I know sounds weird, but it actually works. So I'm just going with that. So it's not very much of the body, obviously. It's probably about 5 inches maybe. But to be quite honest with you, it is boring as all get out to knit this part of the sweater. It's just boring because it's a solid color. It's a light color. There are flecks in the yarn. This is Cascade 220 Heathers in the Aspen color. It's a pretty gray, like a taupey gray. And it's got some dark threads through it. But honestly, it's a little boring. So it's going to be a slog, but I will get it done because I really, really want the sweater. That's the thing. I definitely want to wear the sweater this fall. So I'll get through it, just not as fast as I had hoped. I really did hope to make more progress on that body while I was away, but didn't happen. But let's see, what else? Oh, I also worked on my mini granny square Afghan project in the car on the way down, and I was making good progress because I had worked on, I hadn't finished the green shawl at that point, but I'd worked on the green shawl, and then I worked on the antler cardigan for a while, and then I thought, I'm going to crochet for a bit for a change of pace, and I probably got, I don't know, 3 or 4 squares done, and then the car ate my crochet hook. I'm using a 2.75 millimeter crochet hook, a Susan Bates. It looks much like this. This is a 2.25 instead of 2.75, so it's a little too small. But this is what I'm using, and I dropped it between the seat and the console thing in the middle of the car, and we could see it. It was there, but there wasn't very much space to try to squeeze your hand down to get it. And as I was doing that, it was just pushing it further and further down, and suddenly it just disappeared. Literally disappeared, and we have no idea where it went. We have not been able to find it. Even once we got back from vacation, we thought, oh, we can move stuff. There won't be as much stuff in the car. Get in there with a flashlight. There is no sign of it. The car ate my crochet hook. So I do not have another 2.75 millimeter hook. I need to get one. They're like $3, so I really don't want to have to pay $5 in shipping from someplace to get one. So I'm going to see if I can find one locally. I really like this hook. This is the Susan Bates Quicksilver crochet hook. This is the package it comes in. I know some people really like the crochet hooks that have the bigger handles on them. They're more ergonomically friendly and stuff. I like this one. I really like the tininess of it. I don't know why. So that's what I want to get. And I like this Quicksilver. There's some other, the pink ones, I can't remember what they're called, but I really like the Quicksilver. It's got this coating on it, and it slides on the yarn really, really nicely. So that's what I want to get. So anyway, I did work on that a bit, but then I couldn't. And I'll show it to you some other time when I actually like join those squares to the blanket or something. But I did put in a lot of work on one of the pairs of Arnie and Carlos socks. The Fall Nights colorway, which was the one I started, so I had something to work on when we went canoeing that one day. I worked on that. I took that one with me. I asked Bill if he wanted these socks, and he's like, yeah, I like them, so these are going to be for him. I decided to use the West Yorkshire Spinners gray yarn that I have for the toes and eventually for the Afterthought heel. But I was in the car when I finished this, and it was just not conducive to me picking up stitches to do the Afterthought heel at that point, so I thought I'll just knit both socks. So I have the first one done except for the Afterthought heel. And I really like it. This is a pretty colorway. This is the Fall Nights colorway. Fall Night. Colorway 3655. And I'm using my regular US ones. So I finished that one, and I cast on the second. And there was no way these were going to be matchy-matchy because this yarn is just, it doubles back on itself, the patterning. So you don't know if you're coming or going, really. And I started this sock with the second skein, so there was no guarantee that it was starting anywhere close to where the other one was, and it didn't. But it's okay. Bill doesn't care if they super match. So anyway, I'm about 5 inches into the second sock. I need to do 11 inches and then put in the toe, and then I can go in and do both heels. So just plain vanilla stripy socks. And here's a little ball of the gray, because I just took a little ball of it since I didn't really need to take the entire big skein. So that was a lot of my knitting time because it was nice and mindless and I could work on it while I was talking to people or whatever. That's actually what I knit the half around on whenever I was sitting waiting to go up on the beach before the wedding. Um, the only other thing I worked on was something that I cast on the day before we left, and I do believe I talked about this maybe, I don't remember. Did I talk about this on the podcast last time? I don't know. It's a pair of socks. The pattern is by Kemper Ray from the Junk Yarn podcast. And the socks are called Pixel Rise. And they're meant to be socks to use up scraps. And here's the picture from the pattern. So basically you're doing this patterning where you're changing from one scrap to the next, and then you're doing this color work motif that kind of looks like pixels. Think like old games, like old computer games, that kind of pixelation kind of thing. And it's really pretty. I can't see it as well in these socks as I can in the ones I'm doing, but I really love it. Now the pattern is written to be toe up, and I am doing them cuff down. So my pixels are actually falling rather than rising because the V's are upside down. But I am using my leftover color work set from Knitty & Color that I used for my Lefty shawl. And I decided to use my Fiber Nymph Dye Works Fuchsia for the cuff, the heel, and the toe. And I'm going to do an afterthought heel, so I'm obviously well beyond where I would be putting the heel in. But you can see the stitch patterning way better with these solid colors than if you were using like variegateds and self-stripings and stuff, I think. But they are eye-searing. I'm calling them my retina-searing pixel socks. Yeah, like if you were doing them toe up, they would be that way, I guess. That's how the V's would be going. I'm having tension issues a little bit, but I think it'll block out. The weird blippy places are where I've joined different colors. That's why they're so wide. But again, once everything's woven in, I'm going to have a bazillion ends to weave in. But I love these colors. And I'm really excited that I'm going to be able to use these colors from this yarn for socks as well as that Lefty shawlette that I made. That makes me happy. I'm getting two really nice projects out of that same yarn. So anyway, that's the first sock. I love working on it, but I can only work on it for so long, and then I need to take a break because I don't do color work quickly. Like I don't carry both of my colors in the same finger, like on the same hand, continental wise. I knit continental with one and then I throw with the other, and it's just slow, but it's fine. It's coming along nicely, and I like how they're turning out, and I love the colors. So again, that was the pattern is called Pixel Rise by Kemper Ray. That's it. That's all the knitting I did. I think that's an awful lot of knitting for being away on your wedding and honeymoon trip, quite frankly. The 30 plus hours in the car helped a lot though. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? The Craft-A-Kit. Craft Along is still happening. Again, I just got back. I have not had a chance to check in on any of the threads yet. So I'm not doing any drawings this week, but it is still continuing on through September 15th. So please continue to craft your kits and post your pictures in the finished object thread, chatter in the regular thread. And the next time I record, which will be sometime next week, let's see, today is I may do a couple of impromptu drawings the next time I record. We'll see. But I'll definitely be doing the regular drawings after the knit alongs or the craft along is over. And next week I will show you a couple of things that I have for prizes too. I'm very excited about that. Again, I didn't have a chance to look at the questions thread, so I don't know if there's anything there. I have some new stuff to show you, but it's not here. Nothing's organized, so all that's going to wait until next time, which is probably fine because, like I said, this is sort of a lot of talking about wedding and not so much about knitting. But anyway, yeah, the 10% was really pretty much at the beginning in my wedding recap. So let me just tell you some shop news. Number one, the Foxes and Suxes sets all sold out shortly after the last time I recorded. Those will be shipping by this coming Wednesday. So if you ordered one, you can be looking forward to that coming. All of the SSK special colorway yarn that anybody ordered at SSK, that all shipped before I left for my trip, except the one skein for the person who I don't have your name and address. That was my fault. I was like so excited that you were ordering it, I totally forgot to ask you your name and address. So I'm really hoping that person realizes that they have not gotten their yarn and they're going to write to me and hopefully not be too angry, but just say, hey, wondering where my yarn is. And I'll say, yay, I'm so glad I found you or you found me. But anyway, if that was you, if you placed an order during the morning show market hours on that Saturday at SSK towards the late morning, you wanted the bounce base, there was only a skein of the bedazzled left, and you ordered it and you paid for it with cash. That's the other problem. If you paid for it with another thing, I'd have your name. But it was cash, so I have no way of tracking you down. Please contact me so that we can get connected and I can get your yarn to you. So, I had said before I left that I thought I would be doing a shop update this coming Friday. I was apparently hallucinating. I don't know why in the world I thought that would be able to happen. There will not be a shop update this coming Friday, the 2nd. There just won't be. No way would that be happening. However, I am planning to do one next Wednesday, which will be September 7th. And that will be at 6 p.m. Eastern on the 7th. So that will be the one that will have mostly sport weight stuff in it. So like self-striping sport, semi-solid sport. That's the plan for that update on the 7th. In the meantime, sorry, I was having a brain blip there. In the meantime, I am doing a sale starting this coming week on Wednesday, this Wednesday, the 31st, through Monday, September 5th. I'm offering a 15% off coupon code for back to school because it is back to school. And as knitters, we are always in school because we are always learning new things, whether we want to or not. We're learning. So I wanted to do a back to the school sale because there's still a lot of really good stuff left in the shop after SSK, like my SSK inventory. There's still a ton of things in there, and I would love to get some of that cleared out before I start doing like all the fall stuff and everything. So the code is BTS 2016, so capital letters BTS 2016. You can use that at checkout for 15% off your order. And that is good all the way from this Wednesday, the 31st, through next Monday, the 5th. So that's everything. I'm going to go and get this processed, and I need to try to get a bunch of other things organized and figured out for what I need to do. You know, here's the thing. Okay, I had all this stuff going on before we went away, and I pretty much accomplished everything I needed to. It was very scheduled, but here's the thing. I'm not living here anymore, and it used to be really convenient because I lived here, and so after dinner or in the evenings, if I needed to work, I could just do stuff, and it was no big deal. I can't do that anymore because I'm not going to be here in the evenings. So I actually have to plan my work days a little bit more than I've ever had to before, which is interesting. This is going to be an adjustment phase for everybody, I think, here, who knows me, like in person anyway, as I work through this. It'll be fine. I'm really looking forward to it. I've got some really exciting, adjustments coming up. I mean, it's all good stuff. But we're going away on vacation. I know we were just away for the wedding, but we actually had this other vacation planned, like even before we knew we were getting married. At the end of September, we're going to Canada. We're taking a canoe trip through part of Canada. I can't even tell you where we're going yet because he's planning it and I know nothing really about it. I know the areas he was thinking about, but I'll tell you more about that as it approaches. But I know I have a lot to get done between now and Canada, which is about probably a month away, a little less than a month away at this point. So I need to get my ducks in a row, and yeah, it'll all be good though. Just a lot of good stuff going on right now, and I'm happy, and I'm glowing. Yes, people keep telling me I look like I'm glowing. Well, I'm tan and I'm sweaty, so that creates a glow, but happiness does too. So anyway, as I said, I'm going to put some pictures here at the end. I hope you enjoy them. At some point, I'm hoping to actually put together sort of a video, like a video made up of pictures. I don't know what that's called when you do that. It may even have music to it. Who knows? Depends on how creative I get. But that's not what this is going to be. This is just going to be some pictures. So enjoy. And if you got through all that wedding stuff, thank you so much. And thanks for everybody's happy wishes too. You know, the greetings and everything that we got on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, and everything on our wedding day was just phenomenal. And it made it even more of a special day. So thank you all for your friendship and your communicating with us. And anyway, I will talk to you next week sometime. Bye.